We are back at 8:09, and this morning on Today's Family, when little boys want to dress like little girls. One mom's decision to share her experience with her son is receiving a lot of attention. We're going to talk to them both in just a moment, but first, their story.
I'm a princess boy, and I love wearing dresses, and I love the colors of pink and red. I'm a princess in a castle.
For little Dyson, now 5, this is part of his everyday play. But for his mom, Cheryl Kilodavis, it took some getting used to.
My initial reaction was to redirect, play with the truck, or read certain books.
When Dyson wanted to be a princess for Halloween, Cheryl initially resisted, but soon changed her mind.
My older son, Kobe, said, "Mom, why can't you just let him be happy?" And at that moment, I knew that this was more my issue. And if Kobe could be a ninja, why couldn't he be a princess?
Since then, they've allowed their youngest son to explore his interest in all things dressy and sparkly.
He's not contagious. He's just a kid like any other kid. Plays checkers, he plays in the trees. He just likes to do it in a dress. Big deal.
He likes pretty things. Pink is his favorite color.
The experience led Cheryl to self-publish a book, My Princess Boy, which she wrote as a tool to encourage acceptance of Dyson and his dresses.
A store clerk once said to me, "Are you really going to buy that for him?" And I said, "Can you just read this book for 60 seconds? And after she read it, she apologized.
Word spread. Their story appeared on a local TV talk show and in People magazine. Soon, a major publisher picked up My Princess Boy, which landed in bookstores across the country just before Christmas.
I think it's fantastic, and I think that what it tells us is that these boys, their parents, and the social world is no longer the same. There is an audience for this book, and there are people who need this kind of information and this kind of help.
I haven't had that moment of regret yet. Partly that, I think, is because of all of the people who are emailing me from all over the country and all over internationally as well, who are saying, "I'm so glad I'm not alone."
It's ironic that I stand here before you today. I mean, after all, I am the woman in the video. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter. I have my MBA, I run my own marketing company. And yet I stand here before you today to talk about the evolution of the male image. Let's talk a little bit about the video. Some of the worldwide reactions. On the positive side, this is a parent accepting their child. This is a supportive book. It doesn't have negative terms in it. And the best question of all, what would I do? Notice how it's not what you should do. It's asking the question, what would I do? On the negative side, too young to decide. Children do what we tell them to do, and they do it. Exploitation. This woman's trying to get rich. Note to self, if you want to get rich, don't publish a children's book. And culturally wrong. I'm biracial with African American and Caucasian heritage, and in our culture, my job is to raise strong black men. But before we go into any of that, that's anecdotal. Let's stop going with opinions. Let's do something we all understand, math. Let's take this as an acceptance equation. Let's say that every difference equals a level of discomfort. Now, there's ways that you can go high level of discomfort and low level of discomfort. But we're going to measure for that level. Before we do this, we have to understand, why does difference make us uncomfortable? Well, it's tribal. Back in caveman days, if somebody was coming towards you that looked different than you could have lost your food, your family, your life. Differences equaled real threat in caveman days. Fortunately, you realize all differences weren't equaling lifetime threats. And so basically, communities began. People started working together, figuring out, how can we make things better? Let's take that further. Okay, let's say you want to walk around in tribal times. You are moving around in a horse and buggy. And you can only go as far as you can see. Imagine the people in the horse and buggy now looking at us as we travel around in airplanes. And let's take it a little bit further. A CEO of a company, white male, middle-aged. Here's Ted Turner. But now we have Xerox. We have PepsiCo. We have Yahoo. And we have Merck. Look at all these different leaders of these companies and how different they all look. And let's take it one step further. Here's Eisenhower and his wife. Perfect first couple, right? And then today, our first African-American president. So basically, we see that although difference equals a level of discomfort, it doesn't equal threat anymore. We have evolved. We continue to evolve. So now that we know that that's tribal, and that it's really wired within us to have this feeling of discomfort when we see difference, let's now solve for acceptance. There are two questions I think we need to answer. One, why am I uncomfortable? And is it harming anyone? Let's go deeper. Of course we're uncomfortable. Look at the audience today. We don't see men in dresses. We don't see a whole lot of pink. We don't see a whole lot of different things that would be attributed to the opposite gender for men. So of course it's uncomfortable. Then we look at the history. Here's a picture of Louis XV in the 1770s, a portrait of him in a pink dress. Here's a picture of FDR in the 1880s. 1930s, uniforms for the Air Force, USA, are pink shirts. And then the women's movement, the social movement that happened. Women started going during World War II to work and stayed at work. People were concerned, oh my gosh, no one's gonna parent the children. Reproduction will end. I'm pretty sure we're still reproducing. Okay, so we know now why we're uncomfortable. Let's go to, is it harming anyone? Well, I'm gonna take you through a few celebrities. Here's Usher in some hot pink boots. Here's a fashion week that just happened, and the designer had all the models in male models in dresses. Here's Spike Lee in a leather skirt. Janet Jackson in a suit and tie. And we have P. Diddy rocking a concert in a skirt. And Lady Gaga dressed as a male. And then we have Marc Jacobs, who designs skirts for men. So I ask you, did anyone die from this? Was anybody harmed? Now, you may argue that yes, society was harmed. We have serious, serious level of discomfort with this. And I ask you to go back to caveman times. Did you lose your family? Were you threatened? This is about acceptance. That's what this is about, our fundamental need of acceptance. So now that we know it's not harming anyone, we need to accept the fact that the male image is evolving. There are different roles for men, and we need to accept them for who they are. Now, the level of discomfort will continue with us because we are wired to feel that difference equals a level of discomfort. But I would say, with acceptance being needed, how do we do this? Well, we become acceptance champions. I believe that the country got it wrong. All of our organizations, all of our books, all of our trainings, foundations, we have anti-bullying in the name. Why not acceptance? Why not acceptance curricula versus anti-bullying curricula? We are going to turn this around. When we want to tell someone, do something, say something, we take it further than the level of the bystander. We go to the acceptance champion who says, hey, Usher, nice pink boots. That's what we do. We turn the negative to positive. Those are acceptance champions. And I guarantee you, they are all over. We are all of them. It's time for us to stand up for differences. And hopefully, we will learn to embrace those who feel different, are different, and express themselves differently. As we come together, we realize that acceptance champions have conversations, and conversations change society. That's a fact. So what's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine. We have to work together to build this world of acceptance. As I leave, I'm reminded of one of the shortest quotes in the English language by Muhammad Ali. Me, we. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.